The media is pressuring first home buyers. Let's have a look. Good morning, everyone. I'm Florian Heiser, and welcome to another episode of Heiser Says. I've got my morning stein of coffee, and I thought we'd read through this article that's appeared on news.com.au. It's to do with first home buyers. They need to rush. They're running out of time. They're running out of time. Now, this is a clear case of time pressure. And it's interesting that it's coming through the media. Now, before we jump and have a look at this article, what I'd like to do is I want to look at just some economic statistics and a few things to kind of judge what we're being told. You look at it in the broader context, not just the headline. And also, I want to draw everyone's attention to a really good book, Influence by Cialdini, Robert B. Cialdini. And he's got another one, Persuasion. So his book, The Psychology of Persuasion, Influence, it's fantastic. It's a really, really good book. And it helps you realize a lot of the, tricks and strategies that are used by people in sales and marketing and even subconsciously. And I would highly recommend this book to anyone because this is going to tie into a lot of what we're seeing elements of here. And it really helped me in business, or actually probably came a bit later in my business. I reflected back on how some people had manipulated me as well, and I didn't even realize. And if you would love to support the channel, guys, please share these videos, get the word out there, and let people know about what's happening and a contrarian perspective to what we're being told by in the media. And if you want to get this book, I'll put my Amazon referral link below. Come on, we've got to have a plug. That's how it works, guys. So we're getting this pressure. First home buyers in Sydney and Melbourne able to act quicker than ever, but time is running out. And I've clipped it out because of the way I've just brought the image in here, but that's what they're saying. Time is running out. Remember whenever there was a, limited time offer, limited time deal, quick, hurry. I remember, I remember, it still happens all the time. I'll get emails from Steam where they say, oh, your game on your wish list is on sale, hurry, limited time. And you're thinking, wow, I need to get that big saving. But then you go, I'll wait for the summer sale. So let's have a look. They're saying, first home buyers can get in, which is good, faster than ever. But let's look at a bit of data. What's caused that? A few things. Okay, so this is from Trading Economics and a whole series of economic indicators for Australia. First we have, let's just jump to our currency here. Now the currency, as of this morning, 67 US cents, 67.05. It was briefly under 67. And it's kind of trending down at the moment. So that's going to influence the cost. Well, to a degree, it'll influence the cost of your living, quality of life. What can you afford? You just need to realize how much of what you're living off is imported, how much is manufactured, how much is processed overseas. That will affect your cost of living. Even my cheese comes from New Zealand. So there you go. But then again, the New Zealand dollar is probably not doing as stellar as we are either. Oh, there you go, 62 US cents. Remember when the New Zealand dollar was much, I think 25% less valued than the Australian dollar? What does that tell you, guys? What does that tell you? So here we go, the Aussie dollar is going down. Now, our unemployment rate, now it's jumped up again, 5.3%. So it's been steady for a while, it's jumped up. You have to remember, we'll look at that in a 10-year period. There you go. So it's jumped up since there and jumped up again. Now, what else should we look at, perhaps? Maybe the big one, the interest rate. So when we judge anything with regards to the housing sector, this is going to influence it. This is going to make it cheaper for people to borrow money, cheaper for people to have cash. So it's going to allow more people to enter the market. We also have APRA changing the rules. It used to be, and I'll just jump out here to 5 years. Oh, we'll go to 10 years. Used to be, we don't even see it. Used to be you needed to be able to pay your mortgage off at about 7.5% interest rate. That's what they were testing. Now it's been adjusted to 2.5%. So what do you think that is going to influence? Perhaps it might make it easier for people to afford homes. Perhaps changes to consumer confidence, which we'll have a look as well. Business confidence, it's heading down. Manufacturing and service PMIs, it's gone up. Service has gone up, so they're good. Consumer confidence, it's heading down. Business confidence, significantly down. So, all of these things coming together. Say your business is slowing down, you might think, it's not going too well, maybe I won't sell now, or maybe I need to sell. Apparently supply and demand as well isn't doing too well with regards to housing stock. So all of these things are coming together. And then we have international trade. We've got issues between China, the US, and the trade wars. You've even got the civil unrest in Hong Kong. So all of this is coming together to the Australian property market. But of course, time is running out. So first home buyers in Sydney and Melbourne are able to act quicker than ever. Now just remember this, how they're saying quicker than ever. Okay? And then time is running out, because just keep that in your mind as we read this article. So first home buyers in most Australian capital cities haven't received a whole lot of good news over the past decade, with soaring prices putting property out of reach for many. But new analysts show that those who are looking to purchase in major markets like Sydney and Melbourne can save a deposit in a considerably shorter period of time. So property is out of reach for many. Now, I'm going to make reference to some data here, which shows you foreign investment in our housing. And this is for the proportion of building approvals recorded by the Foreign Investment Review Board as a share of all ABS building approvals, or residential building approvals. That's the black line you can see here. It went over 90%. So do you think that's going to heat up the market? And CPI as well doesn't count land or the transfer of existing houses. So you're thinking, but foreign, all these purchases in the blue from foreign investment, it's in new housing. It's not going to affect all the other housing. Yes, it does. What someone can get for a new house will influence the expectations of people in an existing house. And our CPI, our Consumer Price Index, which, hang on, we'll have a look at that. Sales PMI. I will bring that over right now, which was sitting at a lower bound. But you know what? Let's jump right to the RBA. We'll have a look here because they'll have it on their website. It's sitting at 1.6%. Remember, that's not a cost of living index. That's what everyone thinks it is. That's what the media report it is, but it isn't. It isn't. And if you were to add housing to this, it would bump it up by another 0.5. So it would be 2.1%. So it would be right in the range that they're looking at. But yet they're still taking these drastic actions. And then we're still only getting a slight increase in the housing sector. So you have to bring it all together, guys. You have to be a cynical, grey-haired bastard like me. But then again, I was balding since high school, so, it's game over for me. Research from consumer comparison website finder.com.au found the period of time to accumulate a 20% deposit for a home in Sydney has reduced by 1 year and 9 months since January 2017. So this is what's allowing you to act faster. That's the time when median prices in New South Wales capital began to slide, plunging by 11.9% in the time since. In Melbourne, the shorter savings period was more modest, with buyers in the Victorian capital able to save a 20% house deposit 4 months quicker than at the end of the boom. Anything that speeds up the ability to get a deposit together is going to be good for those hoping to buy their first home. Finder.com.au Insights Manager Graham Cook said. So, because prices have decreased and it's faster now for you to get your deposit, that's the good news. That's allowing you. But hurry, time is running out. They're putting a time bar on it. For anyone who has saved their deposits and is ready to go, it potentially means buying a larger home or putting a higher percentage towards a place. So here's the time required. From the peak to now, 1 year, 9 months in Sydney. Melbourne, less than 4 months. Canberra, no change. Look at that average price in Canberra, nearly $700,000. Brisbane, 550 grand. 1 month less. 550 grand, that's a lot. Greater Hobart, 500,000. Wow. I heard that Tasmania had gone up, but I didn't realize it had gone up that much. That's nuts. Perth, 500,000. Adelaide, 490. And Darwin, 480 grand. Look at these median prices. Nearly 500,000 in every city, except for Sydney and Melbourne. Even Canberra, 700 grand. That's insane. That is insane. I guess, all the rent seekers in Canberra have no problem there, with their potato board positions. In Sydney, based on the median house price, a deposit of 173,000 is required to meet the 20% requirement, down 30 grand since June 2017. However, as is the case with the notoriously expensive property market, that positive news comes with a caveat. It still takes, on an average, considerable time to scrape that amount together based on average wages, just shy of 10 years in total. 10 years in total. Just think about that. So, we're hearing a whole lot of criticism about millennials kind of just backing off of the housing market, being disenfranchised. Can you blame them? 10 years to scrape together a deposit and then to lock yourself in debt. And now you're going to get no interest on it, nothing on your term deposit. And, it makes you think, well, screw it. I will just get that, enjoy life, and have that avocado and smash, because these are insane. These are insane. 10 years to get a deposit. That just shows you the issues that we're facing, how unaffordable it's become. And the thing is, the problem is they're comparing it to average wages. They need to compare it to household income now, because we're at a point in our civilization where we no longer have the luxury of being able to run a household on only one income. You need two. You need two. The market has adjusted for two people working. It's no longer affordable just to have one. So it's definitely daunting, Mr. Cook said. Outside of Sydney, the median house price will be lower, but there's still a big disparity between house prices and income. When it comes to units, there was also a reduction in the average time needed to save a deposit in Sydney, down 10 months to a total of 7 years and 8 months. Wow, 7 years and 8 months, so you can buy an apartment in Sydney that could have water leak, that could be built on contaminated land, that may get condemned. I mean, okay, is anyone buying an apartment in Sydney at the moment? Probably all the stock. Time required to save deposit for an average unit, current versus peak. Well, there you go, 10 months less. Look at that. Look at the average unit price in Sydney. 674,000. Melbourne, 565. Brisbane, 380,000. These are just insane prices. That's duplicated the image because of my capturing of it, but that is just crazy. That is just, even Darwin, 300 grand for a unit. And then you're in a body corporate, then you got to put up with all the BS of sharing everything and garbage pickup and politics. I mean, they should pay you to live like that. The price declines in Sydney and Melbourne present an opportunity for first-timers to crack into the market sooner. But that window of opportunity could be closing already, with signs of a looming market recovery. Okay, a looming market recovery. Now, think back to everything we were told. They're saying there's time pressure, and you've now, instead of 11 years, you've got 10 years, or instead of 10 years, you've got 9 years. Wow. But they're putting the time pressure on you. It's a sales technique. New data out on Tuesday from the property research firm CoreLogic found median home values in Sydney jumped by 1.7% in the month of September. Median prices increased by the same amount in Melbourne last month. Okay, 2 months. Is that a trend? September's result for the country's two biggest cities mirrored increases in August on the back of renewed confidence and lower interest rates. Where's that renewed confidence coming from? Business confidence has gone down significantly this month. Consumer confidence has stayed steady. Where's that confidence? Unemployment has gone up. Where's that confidence? Is it confidence in the media? Is it confidence from the real estate agents? Where's it coming from? Can someone let me know, guys? Or is it confidence from CoreLogic? Is this a sponsored piece? Shouldn't they put sponsored on it? Can't tell sometimes. Sydney median dwelling values were up a cumulative 3.3%, and Melbourne were up 3.2% in August and September. I mean, that sounds impressive, but you've got to remember they've been dropping. They've dropped by 10% from the peak, and now they're not up 3% from the peak. They're 3% from their decline. Although housing value... See, they need to measure all this stuff. They need to measure all this stuff in ounces of gold so you can have an accurate peg. Because in that time too, the dollar's inflating, so it's losing value, not that much. But although housing values are now consistently tracking higher, at least at a macro level, yes, a macro level, the national index remains 6.8% below the October 2017 peak, indicating that buyers still have some time to take advantage of improved housing affordability before returns to record highs, CoreLogic head of research Tim Lawless said. But why are they going to return to record highs? What's driving that? Can someone explain? What is driving that? All I can see is we've had an insane number of interest rate drops. Our cash rate is so low. The government is in a lucky position because iron ore is higher, so that means their budget's in surplus. But consumer confidence is kind of boring at the moment. Business confidence has just taken a huge hit. Global PMIs are down. America, their manufacturing is at the lowest level in 10 years. Germany as well, their manufacturing sector is in recession. So where's it coming from, guys? What is sustaining this growth? Is it just manipulated or pushed up because the cost of borrowing money has gotten low, so people are taking the plunge? Is that why? That's one theory. The other one, it's heating up because, are there infrastructure projects going on in Sydney and Melbourne that are driving up the prices in these locations? Doesn't appear to be. That's what we saw in all the mining towns. Remember when Moranbah, when it went nuts and all these real estate agents were buying all these houses, and now they've crashed because the market, their demand for property was so high because of these huge mining projects. That was an external investment coming in. That's what stimulated that market, the supply and demand. What's happening? Maybe, okay, are we having a lot of flight from Hong Kong? Is that driving the Sydney and Melbourne prices up? Maybe it is. But they're not mentioning that here. So the home value index percent changed. So Sydney down. Brisbane up. Adelaide up. Perth down. Hobart up. Darwin down. Canberra up. Median value. The capitals combined regions, and the national is still down. Well, there you go. Mr. Lawless said low interest rates and loosening in lending restrictions was benefiting markets across Australia. Okay, so these are the two reasons he's calling. This is one here, the APRA loosening, going from 7% down to 2.5%. Didn't we just have a royal commission into this, into all the issues in the home housing market? However, in Sydney and Melbourne, economic and demographic conditions were seeing those cities outperform their smaller capital counterparts. So economic and demographic conditions. Population growth is higher, unemployment is lower, and jobs growth is stronger, providing a solid platform for housing demand, Mr. Lawless said. Well, job growth is going down, and which demographics are having the job growth? Auction clearance rates data plotting the number of homes to sell under the hammer each Saturday shows a sharp uptick over the course of the year. Yes, that's true, but supply is less. And I don't know why they're obsessing over this. I looked at this data, and it's so variable depending on what's going on in the market. How many people are selling? Wow, we've got 80%. Tasmania had a 100% clearance rate a few times because they had one auction. Another likely contributor to the growth in recent months is an increase in demand far outpacing the available supply. Well, there you go. Yes, supply and demand. Sydney and Melbourne have historically low volumes of listings as sellers look to be sitting on their hands. Well, there you go. Maybe here's another strategy. Maybe we've got an uptick because of this increased ease of borrowing money. You've got lower interest rates, and sellers still haven't been forced to sell. So they're sitting because there's no confidence out there. What about when people start losing their jobs? What about that? What about when banks need to foreclose on houses if times get tough, or people are forced to sell at a loss? Hey, wouldn't that be the time to buy? If you've got your money saved up, maybe you just sit and wait a little bit. What's a couple of months, really? What's a couple of months of rent? But Florian, it's going to shoot up. It's going to shoot up. Why is it going to shoot up, guys? That's the thing. They're putting a time bar on here, and that creates a psychological response. You're afraid that you're going to miss out. FOMO, fear of missing out. That's a powerful emotion, particularly in our social media program life that we live. Just something to keep in mind, guys. So if someone can explain to me why it's going to keep shooting up, I'd like to know. In May 2019, The number of new dwellings to hit the market in Sydney was 5,157 compared with 7,460. Look at that difference, over 2,000 difference at the peak. While in Melbourne, 5.8 from 7.9 again. That's what, a third less? There's still a very low volume of stock on the market, so that could spark further price rises also. Okay, here we go. So is that, or maybe it's what's influencing the current price rise. We're seeing such low listed volumes that I reckon there's a sizable backlog of people waiting to sell who've been holding off. If they hit the market around the same time, that could have a negative impact on prices. So there you go. It may be worth waiting. A deterioration in the national economy and global political uncertainty could also impact price growth in the short to medium term, he said. So it's interesting. It's interesting. I think you want to be in a position. You want to be in a position where you have the control, where you can make the move when you need to, where you are able to walk away when you can, and when you can wait. You want to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay, he already was a millionaire before he came into acting, so he could walk away from the crappy roles. He could say no to the stuff he didn't want to do. Yeah, that's a good rule for life. Arnie knows best, most of the time. Not when he's the governor, but still. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate you for helping this channel grow. We're getting good numbers. I'm really enjoying it. Let me know if there's anything else you want me to talk about. Don't be afraid to email me things or send me stuff on Facebook. It really helps. If you'd like to support the channel financially, I've got a Patreon and a Subscribe Star that you can help out. It all adds up. I've got my Amazon referral link and PayPal, guys. You'd be surprised. It makes it easier not having to worry about the internet that month. Boom. That bill's taken care of. Glorious NBN. Anyway, guys, like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you later today. Take care.